Did you have a game, by the way?
Yeah, it says the video's still processing on YouTube, but it should be uploaded.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I will screen share, and you just have to follow along.
Okay.
Is there anything you would like me to go over? Oh, like other than Evelyn?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of want to talk about Graves a bit because I've been struggling with the champion.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, quickly just touch on Evelyn, right? I do see you changed up the runes a bit. Do you
Yeah.
know which runes are better and why?
I think I like Cosmic more because the lowered flash cooldown and the free boots just seem like too good. To be honest, like for when I go sorcery, I feel like I don't really care about absolute focus, so I just care more about Gathering Storm.
Yeah.
Um,
So something you
because
have
like
to,
Rune Wasted.
yeah, exactly. Something you have to keep in mind. You're watching my screen share, right?
Yeah.
Absolute focus is probably one of the worst runes in the game.
Yeah.
Like for AD, for example, right? It gives 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horrible AP like AD scalings, and the same is pretty much set for AP. Like look at the scalings; it's horrendous, and it also gives you only this AP at 70% of your maximum health. So of course, that's pretty nice for Eve, as she obviously goes for one shots when she's above. But this is just awful, awful. Probably one of the worst runes in the game. So we already got a shitty rune here, and then on top of that we have Gathering Storm, which is not the worst rune in the game, right? It's
Mhm.
definitely one of the better ones in sorcery, but is it something that we really want on Eve, right? Is it something we
Yeah.
really need? Because you get at 10 minutes you get 8 AP. And on top of that, let's say 10 minutes, right? You're level 8 or 9. Probably level 8. Let's just go with that. Level 8, you
Mhm.
got at 10 minutes you got 8 AP here. And at level 8 you get 14 from Absolute Focus. Which is a little bit more than a book, right? It's a little bit more than an amp tone, which is 400 gold. That doesn't seem like a good trade to me. I'm not sure how it looks to you, but now that I've given you the numbers, how do you feel about the rune?
Yeah, I mean that's how I felt the same. I also looked at the numbers and I wasn't really sure if I don't know like the gold like how gold efficient things are, but it just didn't look
Yeah.
right to me, so I switched back to inspiration.
Mm. And I mean, on top of that, right? If you wanted to keep the sorcery tree, there is no better runes, right? The best one is probably Absolute Focus. There's no better rune here, so that's why inspiration is better. And I mean, just to like um, make sure my point is more valid, flash cooldown 50-second less almost, and smite cooldown 14-second less with one rune. And on top of that, the rune also gives you then ability item haste, which is good for rocket build,
Yeah.
right? So this rune is probably one of the best runes in the game with futures in my mind. That said, we don't want to go boots on Eve because it's wasted stats, right? So magical footwear is better than futures because you're going to back on something that doesn't make sense when you have futures. Where on something like Graves, I will just touch on it after. But do you see why inspiration is better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not too much to talk about there, right? But I will cement my point on Graves here. I don't know. Yeah, you went the runes that I have made,
Mhm.
which is good. Something you have to keep in mind is, did you base on serrated dirk every single time? Yeah, you did. Um, Something to keep in mind with this build is when you get the serrated dirk, you need to pressure a lot. Because if you don't pressure on the serrated dirk, having the serrated dirk doesn't do anything for you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think with the Graves, like, yeah, that was part of the issue. Once I backed, I think I just continued like farming a little too hard, and I didn't really look for any
Yeah,
fights as much as I should have.
because something you have to keep in mind is that 1 second. If we just full clear, right? We full clear, we get our serrated Dirk, we go back in base, and then we continue our full clear. What does this serrated Dirk do for you? It doesn't do much, right? Because having the extra stats, sure, it's nice for clearing, but you need to pressure your advantage. And the advantage you will get is at 4 minutes. That's the main advantage. The way you can pressure the advantage is there's multiple ways, right? I'm not telling you to just insta go out of base and look for a fight, right? Just go insta to enemy jungle. But I'm telling you to be more aware of what opportunities you have. Because after you get this serrated Dirk, let's just say you start the top side, right? Golems are up, but what if there's a top plate to be made? It's even. I have my Dirk, which means I do a lot of damage. 4 minutes into the game, the guy probably didn't even base yet. Means I can most likely one-shot him. And if you also have favorable jungle matchup, you can potentially invade, right? Depending on the lane state in top and mid. And let's just say you started here, right? Bot lane and mid. You just have to pressure more. You have to be more oppressive when you get the Dirk. Because if, as I said, right, if you don't use the advantage, what does it gain for you?
Yeah, I think something else I was probably doing was I don't think I was resetting like as quick as I should have to get the Dirk. I think I was wasting a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean
after my initial clear.
That's you shouldn't be able to get a pink ward. So that means you probably cleared a lot slower than you're supposed to. If you have a grace bot as well, we can take a look at the early clear. If not, 1 sec.
Yeah, I don't think I do.
Yeah. If not, I will send a video to you about the clear and how you can optimize it, because you are not supposed to get a pink ward. That means you cleared extremely slow. How far, I mean, or how much time are you in the game when you're done with full clear? Usually, if you remember.
No, I mean, I don't think the clear was slow. I think what happened is after I finished, I probably finished at like 3:15, 3:20, got scuttle, and then I started like looking for things too hard.
Oh yeah, that's obviously a mistake, right?
Yeah,
that's a big mistake. Because think of your base as a pit stop. You pit stop and you get fucking nitro or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could base and then insta look for an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because that base is crucial if you want success, because you know Graves is really really weak early game. But the serrated Dirk makes up for it. On top of that, you get faster spikes with the futures. So you need to be more oppressive when you get it, and not look for opportunities before you have it, unless you know it's mega free. Enemy are diving or something. Yeah. I can see that you tested a bit with Dark Harvest as well. I think Dark Harvest is fine for solo queue, but for competitive, not so much. Because for solo queue, the thing about Dark Harvest is if enemies are fighting a lot, right? It will get a lot of value. And that's usually what happens in solo queue. There's a lot of stupid fights that shouldn't take place, and a lot of random fights that shouldn't take place. So Dark Harvest can have a lot more value in solo queue. But for competitive and high elo, where the game should be a little bit more how do I say it, stabilized, or a little bit more coordinated, then you should go Electro. But yeah, I think Dark Harvest in the elo you're in right now is probably better. And again, you need to be oppressive, which means you will get stacks. Yeah. Anything you want to know more about the champ?
I was wondering if my build was fine. I usually go Eclipse into Lord Doms and then Collector.
If you are fit, right? If you get early lead, let's just say you go 3-0 or something, right? You go 3-0, you get early gold, then Collector is the way to go, because obviously having Collector win your hit is really, really disgusting. If you are not a hit and you just go, let's just say, 1-2-1 or something, you didn't succeed on using your Dirk advantage, then going like skipping the collector is probably going to be better. That said, there are games where collector doesn't have as high value if they are insanely tanky, right? Collector doesn't do a lot. Then it's better to go something like Eclipse into Dominics. Of course, Serpents is really good. If you can buy it for free, you need to. But if enemies doesn't have like a lot of shields or just a couple of shields, right? Don't do it. It's really troll. Yeah. But this is pretty much the core, like these four you have here.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, also something to keep in mind is don't go for the lethality graves if lethality is not good in the game, right? Like this game is not a good lethality game because you have Diana, you have Vayne, so 80 damage there, which means they can do armor relatively easy, right? Like Frozen Heart here. I mean, they didn't get a lot compared to what they could, right? This guy could go fighter Rengar, but he didn't. So if the game is not a good lethality graves game, don't pick it.
Would I go like Shield Bow or Gale Force then?
Yes, but also no, because if that's the case, why did we lock Graves? Right, Graves is better as a counter pick. Like on 4-5, let's say you're blue and you pick on 4-5, then you can go Graves if it's a good Graves game, right? If you have AP mid, potentially AP top, right? And they can't just itemize against you, then lethality or then Graves can be good. So think about your champs. Also incredibly important if you play like 3-4 champions, or let's just go with 3 champs, right? Pick the champ that's best, and if you have to blind pick your best champ, because if you're on your best champ, the chance of you winning is still higher than you picking a champ that might be good in the game, but you can't play optimally. That make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other champ you would like me to look at?
I guess Kha'Zix as well. I think my runes are fine on him, but I just want to make sure.
I mean, it's the same runes, right? The sad thing or the bad thing about Car, which Graves doesn't have, is Car does not really burst multiple targets, right? Car is, if you pick Car, you want to go lethality. If you pick Car, he doesn't burn through 5 targets. So Dark Harvest doesn't have the same value here as it has on Graves, because Graves can actually keep the fighting going after 1 kill. Where Car usually picks up one kill, potentially 2, and then gets out of the fight. So Electro is better on Car, or not on Car, but on Graves, since you shouldn't be allowed to get that many stacks on Car. That said, again, right, it is solo queue, and the chance of the game being a game where a lot of kills take place is high, like highly likely, right? But again, you can't really account for the game being a flippy game or a game with a lot of fights. So Electro just offers rune security because it scales with levels, right? Not with stacks. So it just offers security, and you don't need the Dark Harvest, so to say. You just need to survive early game, because mid game is where he thrives, right? Mid to late transition is where he thrives. So you just need rune security, and you need like the best early game rune, and the best early game rune is by far Electro. Yeah, because you don't full clear as fast as, you know, a D does or whatever, right? You need to find some way to get a lead early on to take yourself into a like good position mid game. So you just need the early rune, and the early rune is Electro. If you want to see the numbers, I can quickly find them for you. you haven't already.
I've seen them. I mean, I know the scaling is a lot higher than Dark Harvest.
Yeah, okay, good. But the thing about Dark Harvest, right, is that it can proc on 5 targets. So in fights, Dark Harvest can have more value, but you need a lot more souls, and also you need the game to be more flippy. So that's why I don't prefer Dark Harvest on any champ, but there is a like argument for it being decent in solo queue, certain spots. Yeah. Anything else you want me to look at? Like the build is fine.
Okay.
In terms of this, right? I mean, Prowlers is not as good as it used to be. Reason being that it was nerfed, right? And
Yeah.
you can't jump on minions anymore. So, I mean, Dustblade is probably better now. I am not 100% sure, but the 5 ability haste is nice, right? The 5 lethality is obviously still better, but the rune or the item being nerfed so heavily might mean that it's not as good as it used to be, or not worth it at least. But I can't say for sure which one is better. It can depend on the game, I guess, right? If you're solo AD, then the 5 lethality can outweigh on every legendary item that you finish. If not, I think the Duskblade is better. But yeah, I can't say for certain.
Yeah, I've just been thinking of like not really playing as much Kha'Zix anymore because
Yeah,
I feel like
mean, I don't like Car, right? I think Car is too flippy, and you were counting for a lot of mistakes from enemy team.
yeah, the way I've always seen it is like he has a really slow clear speed, so unless his items are like broken,
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
see much value in the pick.
Yeah, he has extremely slow clear speed compared to like other junglers, right? And he
Yeah.
needs to find an early advantage to be able to play the game, or he will just get out cleared and can't be useful. So you're going into the game with a bad taste in your mouth, which you don't really do on Evelyn or Graves. What about Udyr, by the way? I saw that you go like the Aribo build. If you know who that is,
Yeah,
I'm
I
assuming you
do.
do.
Yeah, I don't like I've been trying. I don't play as much of the champion anymore because I don't know what it is, but I'm not like being like rigorous with my full clearing, and I'm not being like as ahead in CS as I should be. So I'm playing. If I pick Udyr, I'm playing Udyr, but without like the massive gold advantage that Aribo always has in
Yeah,
XP lead. So
yeah. I mean, it comes down to clear efficiency, right? I'm assuming that you are looking to full clear in most cases,
yeah,
but it comes down to clear efficiency. So I mean, it's something you have to. It's not something I can really coach on right now, because obviously I need a bot for that. And I think if you want to be like better at clear efficiency on Udyr, watching Aribo is better than watching me clear it or
yeah.
talk about it.
I know how to do like the clears properly. It's more I think I after like initial clears I waste a lot of time.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I'm not like
All right.
always taking camps and respawn or
Yeah.
counter jungling properly.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's something I can help with, so I could definitely help with that. Because it is incredibly important that you stay ahead of the curve on this champion, or he will just
Yeah.
be complete shit, right? Because he can offer a lot of carry potential, but he needs to be ahead of the curve. So 7 CS, 6 CS per minute is not good enough. It's not gonna cut it. You need to hit the 8.5, 9 CS per minute. To be able to obviously complete your items and carry and take over the game. So yeah, I mean, if you don't feel like the champ is for you, probably just bench it a little bit. But I can see that the win rate isn't bad, right? Although it's only like a small sample size. If you pick up the CS and you pick up the efficiency of your clear, I'm sure you can take this champ to the moon.
Yeah, definitely. I just gotta put some practice into it. on
Yeah.
like another account or something.
Yeah, but again, it's fundamental way of thinking that you need to change if you want to hit the high numbers. It's like every idiot can full clear, right? Every single idiot can
Yeah.
full clear on repeat. That doesn't take skill. But being at the right place at the right time, that takes skill. So full clearing to the right, like to the right place of the map, and being at the right place at the right time, that takes skill. So that's something I can obviously teach you. So that you don't waste time and you start hitting the 5.8 CS per minute and 6.6. I mean, why is Camille your second most played as well?
Oh, yeah, like a month ago I was getting really like tilted and frustrated with the game, so I just switched to top lane. Because
Yeah, okay.
this account was last season, I was always a jungle player, but then I wanted to learn lane, so
Mm.
I leveled this account and got to D2 on lane, then I switched back to jungle.
Yeah. Like learning lane is really good for jungler. I'm sure you have. I mean, if you watch my videos, you know how important it is. But you don't really need to play lane to learn lane.
Yeah.
You just need to learn the fundamentals of how lane works, so you can base your pathing around it and the matchups. So, do you have the game ready? Well,
Yeah, so I uploaded to the wrong channel and like said the limit was too long. I re-uploaded it. It's gonna take like 4 minutes, if that's okay.
yeah, it's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
But yeah, stop playing Camille. I'm assuming you're not playing it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay, that's good. And it looks like Eve is by far your best champ, right?
Yeah.
So try to stick to Eve and try to hit your peak elo. And of course, do the right runes. Stop playing sorcery. It's complete piss. What about Hecarim? You're doing the same runes on him, right? As you do on
As the
Udyr.
Udyr, yeah.
Nice, good. Good. But yeah, Hecarim is still a fine pick, still a fine champion. But you just need secondary options to Eve when Eve is banned or Eve isn't good.
Is Nocturne still a decent jungle pick?
Yeah, Nocturne's fine. He is also disgusting for solo queue because of the ult making enemies headless chickens. So if you can play Nocturne and you understand how he works, then he is definitely
I've
fine.
practiced him a bit.
Then he's definitely fine.
I'm just trying to think of questions while the video's uploading.
It's fine.
I did play a little bit of Xin Zhao, not much, but I think I'm gonna champion is pretty easy, so I was wondering if what I was building is fine on him.
Is this the same account? Or so?
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't sure if I should be going Resolve secondary on him.
Yeah, you should. And the same runes that you do in Udyr. The thing about Sensao is Cosmic Insight, it doesn't do much for him. Summoner spell haste, sure, it's nice. For Flash and Smite, but he doesn't need Smite that often, right? He just one-shot camps and he wants to gank a lot more than something like Eve wants to. Eve wants to full clear more, so the more she has Flash or the more she has Smite, the better. Yeah, but I mean, inspiration and source or inspiration and resolve, it's kind of depending on what you prefer. Because resolve can be good, but resolve can also be good, right? There, I'm not sure which one is better on Xin Zhao. The thing that is just so good about resolve is that it gives you armor and magic resist, which you're not really buying early on, right? You're buying AP, or not AP, but AD and health, CD, for that matter. So you're mostly just stacking up on HP and not really defensive stats like armor and magic resist, right? So conditioning rune gives you the stat that you're not really buying early on. And it's a lot of stats on top. Yeah, and another thing as well is that unflinching allows you to not take tenacity and stuff like Sin, which
Oh,
which
right.
prefers which prefers to have alacrity because of the attack speed, right?
Yeah.
So unflinching is helping you out in that way. It's kind of the same as if you know how Yasuo and Yon works, right? They hate having tenacity rune. It really ruins how they want to play the game. So instead of doing that, they go resolve and they go unflinching to avoid having to take tenacity. And kind of the same
Yeah,
thing
that makes
on
sense.
Xin Zhao in a way. Except like he doesn't get fucked over completely by having to take tenacity. But it's still like he still prefers celebrity, of course, since he has to also take a lot. Yeah. If you have any other questions, of course, you just ask me, right?
Yeah, I don't think I do. I just have to I just have to wait like another few minutes for this video.
Yeah, but like keep your champion pool small. Keep keep it small so you have a bigger chance of climbing. Because the more comfortable you're on the champ, the more you can think about the game. Which obviously makes sense when you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start playing Sensao Eve and then randomly start picking up Graves, you need to think about how you want to play the champ and how the champ's mechanics work, which means you won't be able to think about the game and how you should
Yeah,
path.
I mean with the Graves, I've played him like a lot last season, but it
Mm,
just the build was different and I guess the way you go about the game is different because I felt like I could just like go 8 CS per minute and like have
yeah,
a bigger say in the game.
yeah. The build is like way different compared to what it used to be, for sure. Um, yeah, it's definitely way different. And you also have to like for Graves to be as valuable as he can, you want to go lethality because it's shorter money, of course, shorter cash for your items, which means you spike faster, and you don't have to rely on getting like a lot of kills early on because of the fact that they are so much cheaper.
Yeah, I think his scaling on or his AD scaling on his like Q and R are also pretty insane.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, if you had to go about it now, what do you think your champion pool would be? Like Eve, of course.
I think I'm definitely gonna drop Graves because I don't think it's working for me. Um,
No, I mean you have to kind of relearn him. Like you have to relearn how you want to play the champion for it to be
yeah,
valuable. Um,
but
yeah,
I think Evelyn for sure. I'll stick with Kha'Zix. I don't think it's a good champ, but I think I'm decent at him,
if
so
you're
I'm
if
fine.
you're good at the champion, right? It can work. Any champion can work if you're good at the champion. Um, even if the champ is not as good as it, like another meta pick, right? Um, but yeah, you should have a like a more blindable pick as well, right? I think your Eve is blindable because of the fact that it looks to be your best champ by far. But a more blindable champion like Sensao, right? Sensao is relatively
Yeah.
strong right now.
Do you
Like,
think Nocturne is blindable?
yeah, he is for sure. He's
Okay.
flexible in more lanes, so they can't guarantee where he's going until they see the final draft. Um, it's like
I haven't played him too much here, but I have played a lot of him this
yeah,
year.
okay, yeah. Um, I mean, what you could do as well is that you could do this instead of this, since um, wards are extremely OP. I'm sure you understand the fact that um, players in solo queue they don't really react to information that isn't seen. They kind of have to see it with their own eyes to understand. Which
Yeah.
is it's a sad reality that we live in, but um, zombie ward is really busted. Um, and obviously sudden impact only works on your ult and flash. And I mean, it used to work on Stridebreaker, but not anymore. So I guess at this time here it wasn't as bad, but this is like more guaranteed value where this only works on ult. If you had another dash in your kit, I would go sudden impact, but you don't.
Okay.
But other than that, it's fine, right? Um you have good build and runes. So I'll probably stick with Eve and then go Nocturne or
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good.
yeah, and Car is a counter pick, of course, because if enemy jungle can't outclear you, you're fine. You're completely fine, right? You're not gonna get fucked over. But if you pick Car, and then enemy picks, I mean, Lily or something, anything that just outclears, then it can be a really rough game.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, when I'm playing Kha'Zix, I think like a lot of things outclear me, so I only like pick it if the enemy team comp looks like really free with like champs like Nami or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's fine, right? If you can abuse enemies on Car, you should pick the champion.
Yeah.
One shotable enemy team is very free. Yeah.
What do you think of Lilia? I played a lot of Lilia before she was like changed.
Yeah.
And I tried her once with the new runes, and or I guess just the new Lilia, and I saw that people were going like Conquer on her, and the way she cleared felt very different. Like she felt a lot slower movement speed wise, and I couldn't really put my finger on what's different, but I felt like I spiked in mid game, and then late game I became like kind of weaker. But I was also against champs like Irelia that were just out sustaining all my damage.
Yeah. Um, I think Riftmaker into called Demonic
Demonic.
Embrace can be very obnoxious. Like very obnoxious. A lot of damage. And I mean, what else actually? I haven't theory crafted too much on Lilia. But there's also the standard Ludens build. Or not Ludens, but Leandris into Demonic. Just like the champ really like loves Leandris, right? But I think
Yeah,
I think Riftmaker into Demonic into potentially like Rylai's could be very disgusting. Because
yeah, I
you
think so
don't you
too.
don't need the Sonyas because you'll be so tanky that if they dive in on you, have fun.
All right.
Yeah. What game are we going to watch, by the way? I forgot to ask.
It was the most early one. It looks like it was the stomp, but it really wasn't. I felt like I got really ahead, but I couldn't really carry my lead out at all. Um, or when I was like 5-0 at one point, the enemy Kiana like gave up at like 10 minutes and just like went like AP items and just wasn't playing the game. But even after doing that, like the score of the game after a while was like 20-20, and they were like winning fights, and
Okay.
I felt like the Tilia was just like outpathing me.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good, right? I'm sure I can tell you why you
Yeah,
wouldn't.
it was a very messy game. And I'm usually really bad in those games. Like if I have like a standard like clear I can take, I know when camps are respawning and it's just
Mm,
full clear into full clear, I do really well. But when the game becomes like really messy,
yeah.
I felt like I was really suboptimal, I guess the word.
Mm. Another thing to note quickly: do you know when to go Lich Bane and when not to?
Lich Bane is like an overkill item,
Yeah.
so if you need to do like a lot of damage to
Yeah.
one target, do it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because there are certain champs that you need to overkill, like Trunda. I mean, I really also is like quite tanky, right? So you need to overkill it.
Yeah, and with Kayn and Akali, Kayn can just ult me if I take too long. Akali can
Yeah.
R shroud, so that's why I went it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I mean, perfect, right? I'm assuming you watched the video, or maybe you just
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I've watched a lot of Malice a long time ago,
Yeah,
so
okay, right, good. I mean, the same goes for decap, right? When do you go it, and when do you not?
um well, for decap, like I mean usually my second item choices are always like I'll usually go decap by default to void stuff if they start rushing like way too much MR, and then like
Mhm.
banshees if I need banshees or I'll just die.
Yeah. What about if you have the option? Let's say you have a rut, right? But you can't finish decap. Would you prefer to go Magi on 10 stacks, like 10 Daxon stacks, rather than like going another rut? Tell me if
Like if you have
you
the gold for both.
no, if you only have the gold, or you have the gold for another rut or Magi, what would you rather
Yeah.
take?
If I have 10 stacks, I'll go Magi.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because you obviously will like you would rather take the chance of going a Magi on 10 stacks than you would having an extra rot that gives 60 AP.
Yeah, I think I'd even go it on 6 stacks. I'm not really sure what the
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
if I think I'll get a kill, then I'll definitely buy it at 6.
yeah, that's also fine, right? If you can't, what if you have 10 stacks but you can finish decap?
That one is depends on the state of the game,
Right.
usually.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, the like common thing to do is if you can get a decap instantly, instead of running the Magi, you should take the decap. But if you can't finish the you can't finish the full item, go Magi every time.
Yeah, that's usually what I do.
Because Magi, it has potential to be your best item in your shop, right? Or in
Yeah.
your itemization, whatever it's
I
called.
think I think if I can finish that cap, I'll usually go it because I feel like in the moment I get a much more massive power spike
Yeah,
than getting
for sure.
the book.
Yeah, for sure. You can one shot anyone, almost guaranteed if you have the decap, and you're not like fully or like behind the curve, right? Where on Magi you won't be able to one shot anyone, so it's definitely better. How much AP does a full stack Magi give? Um, it's 20 AP and every 4 stacks.
Maybe 100 and then plus the 20 base.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have the video uploaded. I'll send the link.
Mm.
What is it?
Okay. I mean, because of how the video looks, it's going to be 360. We can wait like 20 minutes or something, and it should be like 720. But if we do that, I'm gonna end the recording here and then like come back in 20 minutes and record it again. It's pretty much up to you. If you can stand watching it at 360,
Yeah,
it's fine.
it's more of it's like if it bothers you, it's what matters because I know what happens in the game and I can look at my VOD again, so I don't mind.
I mean, it's okay for me. Like, I don't mind.
Okay.
It is for you. Like, I don't care. I can figure out what's happening in the game. I don't need to see it fully.
Yeah, sure.
So it's more up to you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with this.
All right. Then we keep it that way. So you know how it goes. If you watch my videos, you know how it goes.
Mhm.
You can just start from top and then run it down to bot. In terms of priority and what you should do in the early game here,
Um,
and why.
I mean, so on Eve, I usually just try to go wherever I can get a scuttle crab.
Yeah, because you're not going to gank. You're not going to be useful if you're ganking, so you need to speed it to 6, right? Speed it to
Yeah.
6 and then potentially look for a kill.
So I think I would just path bot here because I think Misfortune Karma are double range, so they'll have prio
Yeah,
and Sling.
yeah. And I mean, what about top? And just quickly go around the mid lane, like the 2v2 in mid lane. When do you win it? When do you lose it? And why? You can just start with top lane quickly.
Yeah.
Who wins the lane? Because it's important for you to know how the lane should go in theory, so you can actually, so you can adapt if something goes wrong or right. If it goes how you think it's going to go, you also know how the wave state is going to be.
Yeah, so for top lane, I think Irelia controls the wave unless she like misses an E, then Silas is just gonna hard trade on her.
Yeah, I really should for sure control the wave state.
Yeah.
Which means she's probably going to crash at wave 3 or 4, which also means that top wave is going to bounce. That means when you are pathing back to top lane, you could potentially look top, but if it's not free, you don't look. What about mid lane, the 2v2, and how we should path around it?
I think Kiana just has a lot more agency in the first 3 levels because that's just gonna like level 1, he's just gonna have Q.
So
And
both champions are god awful level 1, right?
yeah,
They both get activated at level 3, both of them. Which means they're going to be extremely explosive, right?
right.
That means you can't really play around it. And I'm assuming this is your mid lane Duke,
Yeah,
because of, the OPGG. So you don't win level 3 because this champion is 3 times your champion, right?
yeah,
So you need to tell him that we don't win level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but level 6 we can win easy. Right? Because your champion gets activated at 6.
yeah. It's usually how we go about it.
Because you are stealth and abusing all rules. Like, rules don't apply to you when you get 6. So we need to play around mid at 6, but pre-6, not playing around mid. And you need to tell him, oh, one sec. You need to tell him that he needs to be aware of this, so he doesn't start trading like an idiot, level 1, 2, 3, and then gets ganked or dived. And then calls
Yeah.
for jungle diff, right? Because you can't win level 3. You can only win 6 2v2. So tell him, let him be aware that you play for
Yeah.
level 6 spike. Okay. So with this knowledge that you've just said, having bot is completely fine and right because you have prio. Is obviously way stronger than Galio. And yeah, double range versus melee. And we are not forcing them to leash, so it should be priority in bot lane. But do you get how you should think and why it's so important to also think a little bit like further down the line and not just think my first crap?
Yeah, I think I tend to only like think up to first crab, and then it's not that some games I just like go complete autopilot after that.
Yeah. Sometimes, you just lose the game at crap. And that's, okay. But you need to be able to think more ahead of time. Thinking ahead of time is probably the most important thing as a jungler. Knowing wave states, knowing when the wave state is going to be in a position for me to abuse it or potentially help my teammate. It's incredibly important. So here in the spot, from so far everything I've said, right? We're pathing bots, potentially looking top when the wave is bouncing back, and looking 6 mid lane. Because of the 2v2 being extremely important. The one that lives, like the one that wins the 2v2, or the first 2v2 fight, probably will win the game. Because obviously, mid and jungle do can translate into the entire team. I'm just gonna quickly see if it's better now. Okay. Yeah, and another thing, right? If you think you're going to get late invaded, just place your ward here. Since they won't spot the ward if they're going in.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's something that you only will use versus like Olaf and Kane, right? These
Mhm.
disgusting cheesers that like Kane, you know, jump the wall, takes Raptors, goes on your red buff. Or Olaf that needs to be ahead early game. He walks in like that. But just something you need to be aware of. Yeah. But yeah, you obviously want to hold your ward on Eve. Okay, movement. And yeah, you should fight, of course. Huge. We definitely take that, right?
Yeah.
We know now that Talia is starting topside, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, sure, this is just completely random, and sure, this happens, right? But we know Talia is topside now. We know that you are topside. We know that she clears faster because of the fact that her leashless start is way better than you. You hate leashless, right?
Yeah, I thought that. So this game, like, I assume for some reason I thought that Talia's like level 1 leashless would be like slow.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about the champion though.
The thing that makes the champ better leashless than you is she has Q more often. Her Q does more damage, and she can kite the camp. You can't
Okay.
really kite the camp because you're melee. So she will do more damage to the camp over time, and she will take less damage over time.
Yeah, makes sense.
And her clear isn't bad. You know, her leashless is also not the greatest. It's not something that I would recommend at least, but it's not the end of the world. Where on Eve, it's not the end of the world, but you're definitely not happy about it because you will take a lot more time on your camp. But you actually go Raptors here. That's a pretty good adaptation, actually. Yeah, that's a pretty good adaptation. So it definitely makes the leashless a little bit faster. That said, right? Now you're forced to do like this. You go here, and then you go here, here, and then back up again.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but it's a sacrifice you kind of have to make here. Also, something to be taken account is because you do this, this is not doable. The scuttle is not doable. I can see the Talir skanking top now, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of good for you because that means the bot scuttle is free for you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So we're pretty happy with this. Like her doing this is a win for you. We don't really care about Aurelia dying here. We care about what you can do in the game.
I think I end up ganking top, which kind of throws off the tempo a bit though.
Yeah, it's really poo.
He was making it like way too free for the kill though. But I think I ended up giving it to Aurelia, which I regret in retrospect.
If you think you're going to go top lane here, right? You need to
Yeah.
pay attention to the wave state, not only on the minimap, but take a look at it. Because the wave state, I can see it on the minimap, is really good. Right? It's really, really good. So it's good for a gank, but if he is not low, he will just kill you.
Yeah.
So you have to pay attention to it. It's very fucking important. Because you see it, right? But you see it slower than you would like to. Right? We would like to know it already when the wave is starting to hit this wave. Right? We would like to know it already here, where she dies.
Yeah.
You can see it already here. Right? Just read the wave. Wave state is really good because they're hitting him, which means that his minions are going to hit here, which means this wave is going to slow push. So you can already predict what you want to do early on, but just pay attention to the wave state so you can read it before you actually are up there. Because as I said, right, everyone can gank and everyone can full clear, but not everyone can predict what's gonna happen with the wave.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you see it, but you see it when the gank is taking place, right? You see it here, and I mean the gank is taking place in 3-4 seconds. So I mean I don't mind this from you. I think it's okay, because with the adaptation you had to make, if you do this, you're going to go all the way around here, and it's gonna kind of suck ass. So you're going for a gank where the wave state is good, but pay attention to the wave state. You want to know it before it's like happening.
Okay.
Because he is overextending, and this gank is not bad. I just need you to take. I need you to be aware of the gank being possible already here, when you start the red buff.
Yeah, so just realize that it's like slow pushing and he won't be
Yeah,
able to
exactly.
crouch.
Realize that it's slow pushing and that you can make a gank happen. And I mean, obviously, like, look how close this is, right? It's not really on you. Like, if or I really could be a lot more patient, but yeah, it kind of forces an awkward situation where you have to reset, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I assumed that she was like in my bot side jungle looking to dive bot.
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah. I mean, high chance of that, right? And you're also paying for it, so that's good. But yeah, you know that Talia is bot side now, right? So you have to be careful, because walking in here it could be a death sentence for you. It's bot lane, enemy bot lane has prio, enemy mid lane is missing, and enemy jungler is missing. So you starting this is really troll.
Okay.
Because we actually
yeah.
don't know where they are. So Talia and Kiana could walk around here, and Galio and Jen could be walking here. With you then having to give this. So what you should do instead is you should wait for your bot lane to have prio. You should wait your mid lane to push this wave and then start it, because then they can move to you.
Okay.
So you should take this instead, the wolves.
The wolves, yeah.
Where you're less you're less in threat, right? Because you can just take your camp here and you can actually get out.
Yeah, I've definitely lost games off of this like scenario happening.
And again, it comes from you having to pay attention to the wave state, because they pushed in bot lane, which means they can move. Kiana is missing because she is playing Kiana. And Talia, I mean, is also missing, right? And she has just shown you that she's cheesing, right? She went top lane level 2. So why wouldn't she do this? This is not even cheese. This is just good from her. After she sees you here in top, she knows that this is all up. Why is she not here? Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you should for sure have died for this, and they just go on set instead, right? Which is for sure the most suboptimal play. Knowing that he has Shadow and both bot lane and mid lane having the move. You starting this is really troll. Yeah, I mean, again, right? They spared your life because they were idiots and they didn't go for you.
Yeah, I saw Talia here, I think, and I just...
Yeah, this is okay, but
it was a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. This is okay, but what can happen here, right? The wave is pushing into MF Kame, so what are we waiting for, right? You're playing Eve, you need 6. 6 is spike. So if we're not covering a dive or ganking a free kill like the Silas, right? What are we doing, right? We have this camp up, we have this camp up, we have this camp coming up.
I think I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't want to like lose the game off of Talia just showing up here, but that's not how my champion works. I can always just...
Yeah, exactly. And also, you're not gonna lose the game, because look at the distance he has to cover.
Yeah.
Right? They don't walk up. Why would they walk up here? Right? There's nothing to walk up for. So they should wait for the wave to come in, farm the wave, and let you clear, because you're not gonna do anything here.
Yeah, I wasn't counting the minions, so I thought that the wave was slow pushing into enemy, and they were not touching the wave.
Yeah, exactly. And again, right, it comes back to looking at the wave state, because if you look at it, we have 4 minions. I'm just gonna say that this one's dead, right? And
Yeah.
we have 6 minions here on red team. So this wave can only come in. And again, if you are trying to cover something, cover the dive. And how do you cover the dive? You ward for it, or you eat this camp and you time your clear with the wave state pushing into tower.
Yeah, if I read the wave correctly, I would have definitely played this different. But in my head, at the time, I was thinking, oh, it's slow pushing into enemy, so eventually, like, they're just gonna be at risk here. And I
Yeah.
thought Talia was just waiting.
Yeah.
Still 360.
No, it's fine. I just had to try. But look. But yeah. I'm assuming you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Because you can match this if you want to cover them. You can take the grump, ward for them, go take the wolves, and then you can match on the dive. So you cover them on the dive.
Yeah.
But this way you're covering nothing. And yeah, as you said, right? You're saying that you think that this wave crashes or goes back into enemy team. But how do we stop that? We just look at the wave and you know exactly what will happen. Right? So it's all about
You're
looking and being aware of the wave states. Yeah, as I said, right? You take this and you time it when waves come in, and you can farm the wave with your team, so they can reset, you reset. And I mean, we would much rather deny them from dying than, you know, getting our raptors and golems. But if we're doing nothing, which you are, then we would prefer to take the free camps. So it comes back to looking at the wave state and timing when you need to be there. Yeah, and set gets low, it's fine. It just means that we can get a wave in mid. And you should just
Okay,
help him
so
farm
stay.
this, right? Make
Yeah.
sure he doesn't die. Because, yeah, he has to flash.
This is really bad.
It's bad, but I need to change the way that you fundamentally think about it. Because, you know, everyone can be result based and say, you know, this is bad because now he flashes.
Oh no, I wasn't saying I was saying I was bad for not like being with the wave.
Yeah. But the way you need to think about it, right, is that he is low. We need XP. We need him to reset. How do we do it in the safest way possible? Okay, we just go in. We play lane. Now I'm mid laner. I'm mid lane. I'm Eve. I'm mid lane. Because I want this XP. I want you to not die. And what should happen here is this guy, he just takes a reset. And you eat this alone.
Yeah. I think what I was going through my head, which and now I'm thinking about doesn't make sense, is I thought that Kiana was walking with Talia to my raptors.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, they'll just leave Zed alone
They
here
were
because
they were probably doing that as well. So that going through your mind is good. What's not good is, you know, we could have been taking this already if we were bot lane.
yeah,
But again, that going through your mind is good. But of course, when Kiana sees Zed farming this wave with 20 HP, he's not going to stay here. He's going to go on and try to kill him, right? So that running through your mind, like Zed or Kiana and Talia being here, is really good. That is a start, but you not knowing that you have to play mid lane here is really bad. But it just comes from you needing to change your fundamental way of thinking. Because you should just tell your mid laner or your duo Q, reset, I take this wave. Because it's a win-win, you know. Zed will not lose the lane from not getting these 5 CS, and you will get 6 faster. I don't know if you're 4 or 5 now. But I'm assuming you're 4 because of the lane. Or this, right? So you taking this is really good for both Zed and you, because Zed can reset and you can take XP, so no XP is like getting lost into the abyss.
Yeah, I didn't get either scuttle or like level 2 camps on bot side, so
Yeah.
the more XP I get, the better
Mm-hmm.
off I am here.
Yes, exactly. But it comes again from you wasting time and not knowing where you can be. But you know now. And I mean, Seth also will lose the next wave because he resets so late, which means we should. If this is cannon wave, it's fine. You don't have to be here because Seth will get the cannon. If it's not cannon wave, you should take the first 3 XP.
Okay.
And looking at it, this is number 5 here. Yeah, next wave
Not
is
a
cannon
bad.
wave, or not this one, right? So this
Yeah.
one under tower now we should take, but the next one, this one coming out of base is cannon wave. So this one we should take. We should just take
Yeah.
the first 3, not all of them, because that can reach. But we should take the first 3 because it's a lot of XP.
I think it's just part of its like bad habit where like in
Yeah.
people don't really think in any solo queue, so if I take the wave when I'm supposed to, they get angry sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
I have seen that. I've coached a couple of NA, not a couple, but I've coached a lot of NA students. So I have seen it a couple of times. I know. It's really cringe. But
yeah,
yeah.
I should just be playing for the optimal play.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure your Dooku will not mind, right? If you tell him,
Yeah.
would not mind, I'm sure of it. It's for sure the best thing to do. Because now he lost 5 CS, and you really didn't gain a lot. And he burned flash for it. Where if it was the other way around, he would get 6 CS. Like he would get the next wave, and you would get 5 solo XP. So it just doesn't make sense not to do it. Yeah. And we are not level 6 because we are so slow on the clear, right? We should be 6 relatively soon. Should be 6 and like on this camp. Honestly, on this camp you should be 6 if we didn't waste time. Yeah, and
I think like
I
go
mean,
to her Raptors here, but they're not up.
yeah, I mean she came from bot top lane, right? Because she ganked top,
Yeah.
and if she ganked top without having cleared her bot side, it's really grief.
I wasn't sure about this dragon, but
I
my
mean,
camps are respawning at weird times
yes, exactly. And why do you think they're respawning at 3 times?
because I wasted a lot of time.
Because you went bot lane, right?
I'm in bot, yeah.
Yeah, you went bot lane. It was not really about wasting time, but it's because you're desyncing your camps. If you take a camp and then go bot, that means this camp is gonna be desynced with this camp. And if you obviously clear this camp and then this camp, they are going to be synced. But because you like cleared this camp, went bot, looked at nothing, and then went to this, it's going to be desynced. So it's obviously very important that you don't desync your camps.
Yeah.
You only desync it if it's like game winning or very needed or very free kill. Let's say enemy is diving, right? Enemy is diving, and I just finish this camp. Okay, fair enough. Then I walk bot lane, right? But
Yeah.
if it's not game winning play or game needed or lane needed, like let's say this wave is slow pushing and they need to crash it, of course you go and make sure it's crashed. But if it's not that, you do not do it because these singing camps can be so fucking like so vital and so bad. Can be game losing.
In this situation, let's say my wolves weren't desynced. If I like came back and then if I did Gromp and wolves, would it be fine to run to dragon? After?
It can
Or-
be, but you cannot be soloing it because if you soloing it means that you lose camp timer and you don't have 6 before 8
Yeah.
minutes. Right? You're not 6 before 8 minutes. That's fucking horrible. Perfect scenario or good scenario is you're 6.5 minutes into the game. If you get a scuttle. You didn't get a scuttle, right?
No.
So that's obviously because of you having to go leashless and doing this, doing. And then obviously not walking here, but walking here. So, but still in that case, you got the kill, and the kill kind of accounts for the XP that you would get from the scuttle. So, in that case, you should still be 6 at like 6:30, which wouldn't be bad. But now we get 6 at 8 minutes. And why does that happen, do you think?
I think that, you know, when I stood bot a lot, not only did I like waste time and didn't get like my camps, you know, they were desynced, and then it's also slower for me to get like the next level camp.
Yeah, exactly, right? So because you desync the camp, you can't, like, you don't have anything to farm after you take the grump.
Yeah.
There's nothing for you to farm, so you just look for 30 seconds at nothing.
And I'm Evelyn, so I can't really. It's unlikely
Yeah.
that I'm gonna get anything.
Yeah,
from
you're
that.
not playing Sin Sao, right? You're playing Evelyn, so if you go for a gank, you're just gonna say, hello, I am useless, you can ignore me. Right? So, desync in camps, we are not gonna do that ever again, unless it's much needed. Very much needed, right? As I said, I explained it once. A lane is slow pushing away from them and they need you. Sure, we can desync. If a 2v2 is needed and he needs you right now, sure, we can desync. If the same thing for top lane, we can desync. But it has to be needed and it has to be guaranteed value. Because if it's not guaranteed value, you are griefing yourself. Not griefing team, you're griefing yourself. Yeah. And we get 6, but we get 6 so late that you need someone to fuck up, right? You can see it. This is fuck up from Celia. What are you
Yes.
doing?
It's level 5.
I don't know how. Is she level 5? I can't see.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Yeah, and that is not possible, right? That's probably never going to happen again. That enemy jungle is level 5. Like 9 minutes into the game or whatever. It looks 9. That's not really possible. So you need someone to fuck up for you to get back into the game because you're clear so slow. And I mean, he is griefing, right? So we take it, but we don't also take it because, you know, being result based and saying, okay, you mind controlled, you're into inting. It's not really it. And yeah.
Oh, here I should never go for this. This was a bad call.
Yeah, I mean,
But it works out because Kiana ints.
yeah. Yeah, of course we should be like careful going up here, but it's nice ult from you. And it's nice mechanically played, but as you put yourself, he is fresh off base. He is full HP. We just blew everything we had except your ult. So we should obviously not take this fight. Yeah, you played it mechanically well, and Kiana griefed. First, not gonna be good for everyone. But yeah, and we should base on rocket belt. The moment we get rocket belt, we base. If we don't have it, we don't do it, because then your bases are going to be very weird.
Yeah, I've been like basing really shit recently in my games, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the pink ward on Graves, something is wrong, right? But no, like it's just important that you take the right bases. And when I mean the right bases, I mean like an alternator base, right? Or a full item base. Don't base on like a ruby crystal or a lasting one that won't change the game. That said, don't overstep on the map. So if everything is down, no play is to be made, because you know enemies are maybe getting pushed in or something. Don't just go for play to make a play happen. Think about the play before you make it happen.
I think what usually happens is I'll like a play happens,
Mhm.
then all my camps just, you know, are starting to respawn, and I'm like really in proximity to them, so I start thinking, oh, I should just stay at this point instead of basing.
Yeah.
And then that same thing happens over and over until I
Yeah.
just never end up resetting at all.
And that is fucking bad. Like, not basing on item power spikes is something you have to get rid of immediately.
Okay.
Because in solo queue, you know that a lot of fights are gonna take place, right? You can guarantee it in probably every game. So if we are sitting on this gold and we keep staying, it means that you are less likely to win the next fight because you're not as strong as you could be. Because a rocket build compared to like item components is a big fucking like difference, right? Rocket build gives you 6 magic pen, more AP than components. 6 magic pen. I'm not sure how much more AP, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is just the fundamental way that you need to change your mindset.
Yeah.
If you don't
So,
base,
like,
one sec. If you don't base on this, and Talia got her base off, she's stronger than you. That's not that's not a scenario we ever want to be in. So we need to base on our power spike. Yeah, you can go now.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so like I think right now, do you think it's like a good time to base? Because I cleared my top side, I got a kill, and I should have enough gold for rocket belt, I think.
Yes. Right now is a really good time to base. You just killed Kiana. Your mid laner is most likely going to reset after killing this wave. Your Irelia is resetting. Your bot lane is fresh off the map. So you resetting now means that you will be on tempo and on time with the Irelia, with the set, with the bot lane. Plus on your power spike.
Yeah.
So this is the best base you can take. If you keep farming now, you're going to be off tempo, right? Because we're not gonna kill this guy. It's not possible. And we're just wasting time. You should have rocket belt now, right?
Yeah. I think this is where like
it's yeah, you should have it now, right? But
yeah, this is where I start like just wasting time for
exactly.
the rest of the
Right?
game.
You're looking for something that shouldn't take place. You're just overforcing. And again, it comes back to looking at the wave state. Take a look at it. Look what's going on. The wave state is pushing in to enemy. So why step up?
They're never gonna walk up, right?
Exactly. Why step up? What are you stepping up for? If the wave state is here, though, and the wave state is pushing in, they have to step up, or they're fucked. So if that was the case, you looking for this gank, it would be justified. But right now, it's not justified at all because the wave state is pushing away from them. So they just have to step back. Means you're not able to do anything. Plus, you're much weaker than you're supposed to be. You have this, right?
Yeah, I also don't have ult here.
Yeah, and you don't have ult as well, right? So you're just looking for something that shouldn't take place. Think about your play. And this again, it comes down to you not thinking ahead of time. You're just looking at something and you're like, oh, sure, that looks nice. I'm just going to go here.
Yeah, I think I walk places first, then look at the wave, but it really should be the other way around.
Yes, exactly. Pay attention. Because, yeah, now you're staying here and you're just looking at nothing, right? Which also means you're out on the map when you don't have to. Because if you based, you would be out on the map with a full item and ult up again, clearing your camps, and then can look opportunity, right? Because then we are strongest we can be. We have ult, we can carry. And you are also basing with your teammates. You wouldn't be doing if... I mean, and you also die here, hopefully. Okay, you don't. So...
Yeah, I really deserve to there though. I walked into Kiana.
And you can see it, right? Imagine you have item here, which you could have done the exact same thing, but have item. The guy would probably die, right? You have 6 magic pen. And you could do the exact same thing you just did, but have item. Yeah, but basing on spikes is something you need to be better at and something you need to pay attention to. But also when you're basing on spikes, pay attention to your laners. Do they want to base? Are they basing? Are they in base? Or are they pushing, right? Because you don't want to base while your bot lane is in a situation where they have to push in the wave. If the wave is pushed in and they stay, that's not on you. Then it is trolling. But if the wave is slow pushing and they need you, then, you know, staying out on the map is good because you can stay, push in the wave, then reset together, all three, and play together. Right? You don't want to base if it fucks your teammates completely. But in that spot, it didn't fuck them at all. It only made it better for them. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Perfect.
Just a quick question about
Yeah.
Rocket Belt. So it gives you magic pen on the item itself. I thought it was on like the other items you buy after it.
It's both of them.
Oh, okay.
1 second. See here. It gives you 5 magic pen when you finish an item, and also gives you 6 magic pen. So it's both, right? So it's fucking disgusting. You get 11 magic pen on 1 finished item and rocket belt. That is illegal. And yeah, you know, some people go Night Harvester and they should be executed.
Oh.
They should be publicly executed. Yeah, and we're just looking for play, right? But why? You know, it works out, but it shouldn't work out. It really, really shouldn't. And you should die here every single time. But you don't die. Because you're just too good. But it's really, really, really grief, right? We're trying to make a play happen with a lot of stacks, with a shit ton of gold. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm talking about it so much because it's so fucking important. So I need you.
By base here. Oh my god.
I mean, you're already here, so taking the red isn't bad, right? It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't realize the red was up.
Yeah. So taking the red is not bad here because you're already here. That said, we should be here with an item.
Yeah.
Should be here with a full item and ready to explode the map. So you being here and you taking the red in this case isn't bad, but obviously we should. Right, and now we base on more gold than is healthy for you. Because if you base on this gold, it means that you have been out on the map for like about 3-4 minutes, being less efficient than you could have been.
Yeah, in those 3 minutes I could have had like a rocket belt.
Yeah, you could have a rug belt, exactly. You could have a rug belt and probably gotten a couple of more kills because of it. Because you know rocket belt is so fucking broken. It's such a big spike on her.
Yeah, because instead of like what I did, like I could have got my rocket belt and dove bot or something, and the game is just guaranteed win. Because they were a weak point this game later on, so
yeah. And here we should just push mid. Set the stat, and this is a spot where you gain and enemy lose.
yeah, because they can't catch the wave.
Exactly. Good that you push mid. Yeah, it's good.
And so I also don't know if I should be looking for Drake here because I don't have anyone to help me and bots at base.
I mean, looking for Drake here isn't the worst thing, but you can also just wait for your team. But
Yeah, I end up having to.
Yeah, you should just wait for team. Now it ends up being like a little bit more flippy. And I mean, yeah, it really is TPing right. So it's just a little bit more flip. And it doesn't have to be. Just wait for your team and the Drake is secured. And this is also where like reset timers also come in a place, in a way. Because you not resetting means look at bot lane. They push wave, they die, fair enough. And then they should start resetting. Because now they're not out on the map at the same time as you. But if you reset same time, they're going to be in lane. And you are also going to be in your jungle. Essentially in their lane. Your ult. and you can stealth your way through the lane. So you can play more as a team, because this is just a solo queue play, right? Starting an objective without, like, with enemy bot lane having tempo. Galio died, and Jin died, so they are out on the map before your team. And I mean, Talia could always make her Ray bot lane.
See, I think I thought about all that and I still made the decision, which is a little bad.
Yeah.
Because they end up coming as
Yeah.
expected.
We should just be waiting for a team. Because
Yeah.
something that I will just quickly teach you is, if you have pressure points being, you know, a way pushed into tower, both in bot and mid, they have to choose, do I want the wave with the XP and gold, or do I want to go for the Drake and lose the XP and gold?
Yeah.
But because there is no pressure points, they can just run straight. Without
Makes sense.
losing.
Usually, like when you start an objective, you try to like push out mid or
Yeah, you try to push out mid or bot or both, right? Because it leaves more pressure points. If you push out mid, you have 1. If you push out bot, you have 2. Like bot and mid, right?
And then like in this game, if they like contest the dragon while like mid is pushed, they'll lose the XP and they won't win the dragon fight.
Yeah, exactly.
So just like
right, so it's just like a horror scenario for them, where they lose everything. I'm pretty sure that it is in a spot where I can. Okay, beautiful. See it being HD, right?
yeah.
Pleasure. The eyes. Okay, but yeah, you're again doing the right thing here by going mid. Just collect the wave while he is roaming.
I think they're planning on diving, so
yeah, that's also okay. Right? The dive, we just go on with the dive. So you not taking mid wave is also not bad here. The fact that you're looking for a dive as a team. Okay, the dive doesn't happen. Okay, you're just going in. Fine.
And this is just all really lucky. I should be dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's just over forcing, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like this is okay. You being here, and now. This here is fine because you're looking for a dive as a team. But here, the moment you see Galio, okay, the play is over, right? They know where I am.
Yeah.
Me having passive doesn't mean anything anymore. Let me just go out and wait for a better opportunity. Do you not think there's gonna be a better opportunity than this?
I do. I think what probably like usually if there's like no camps or anything up, I try to like make a play happen too much.
Yeah. It's okay to try and make a play happen, but something you have to pay attention to is you don't have to kill them to kill them. They're gonna lose this wave.
A wave, yeah.
Exactly, right? So if they step up and they are like, fuck, I don't want to lose this wave, then we can go. But they're not, right? They're backing off as they are supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? They're running away instead of running towards the arrow, towards the wave. So you don't have to kill them to kill them. They're dying on the wave. And you're going to get a better opportunity than this. Trust me. If you're not, you know, an FF, it's going to happen. I will bet everything I own that this is not the best opportunity you're going to get. They're going to grief. They don't even have to grief because you're stealth, so you can just walk in their lane.
Yeah.
Just wait for the better opportunity. Don't force yourself in a situation where you need to play pixel perfect. Yeah. And obviously, pay attention to the fact that you have a huge shutdown. So if they get this shutdown, game becomes like much easier for them to play. But I mean, there is not a lot to do right now. You don't have ult, which means you shouldn't make a play happen. So you giving your shutdown could be game losing. You're gonna lose all your
Yeah.
stacks. You're gonna give them shutdown. Going to be much stronger than they're supposed to. So we should just be clearing, waiting for your ult, and then we can look opportunity again.
Yeah, I definitely mess up because the enemy Kiana has a Moby boots in a lost chapter right now, but we still like the game is still like even for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You can say that the game is even, but it's not, right? You're playing 4 versus 5 at this spot. So just wait. They're going to int it. They're going to grief it on Drake.
Yeah.
Or walk. Like, they have to be here. If enemy is here in the lanes, they are dead to you with ult. So you just have to not int. You just have to wait for them to make a mistake. And you know, Silas is strong, but it doesn't matter. You're so strong that you're going to win out on every fight that is not like overforced out of your mind. Overforced. And we have another spike here on Brut that you could space for. That's set. Yeah, I mean, that's set, right? There is no reason for you to base right now. You have a rut, but you know, there's no fight that is guaranteed. The Drake is not coming up. Yeah, and this is just random fights, right? There's nothing for you to really base for right now. Pay attention to your spikes. Is the spike going to win you the game? Is the rut going to win you the game? Is the rock belt going to win you the game? Base on spikes. Disgusting champion. Disgusting champion. I mean, this is nice, right? You're abusing your self. Oh, don't mind you doing this. Oh, happened. Here.